Are you a football fan? Have you ever found yourself wondering, what in the world was that ref thinking? Well, Mike D, the referee, is here to help you. Join me on Whistle Talk as I talk to professionals on the field and in the booth to help you understand what is going on inside the mind of a football official. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Whistle Talk. Mike D, the referee, coming at you here from cold New Jersey. Now we're getting to tis the season. Here we are. It's December 1st, ladies and gents, that we are doing this recording. So it's the first Monday after Thanksgiving. Daniel, sir, how are you, my buddy?
Oh, I'm fantastic, Mike. I had as many Thanksgiving dinners as I could, which is really what I'm after on Thanksgiving Day or week. It's an all week ordeal. So lots of good family, and you know,
So, how many meals did you have?
I think we're at 4.
Okay, okay.
I'd have to go back and add up.
Well, I just
I
had
think
my
4 fresh.
lunch
Of course,
today.
there's always the leftovers, right? Like so.
Yeah, just had my lunch today, which was a little leftover turkey and stuffing. So had one last meal. I think that was the final one. Being we're not home, so this is all leftovers that people are sending home with us. So I think I finally had the last of it. But so interesting week of football, huh? Had a lot going on.
Yeah, crazy week. All across the board. What is there? 5 or 6 SEC head football coaches changed or were hired this week.
Yep.
Um, absolute chaos.
Not gonna lie, I got the Giants game going on. They're warming up. It's going on over my shoulder to my left, and I was kind of hoping one of those SEC guys might be the new Giants head coach with the initials LK, but he decided to go to LSU instead of and New York.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a crazy move as well. I don't know who's gonna go coach the Giants. Probably, I don't know, man. You think they bring Brian Kelly up?
No, nope. I think they're going big, or well, I don't even know. But the other murmurs are because of all his Giants ties is Belichick. That's the murmurs that are going around these parts. So I don't know if he's gonna.
No, that would be yeah. That would make sense.
So
Looks
former.
like Kentucky just picked up their head coach, offensive coordinator from Oregon.
Uh, well, they're
So
doing
that's
something
interesting to
right
see
up there.
what happens in Oregon in the playoffs now if he has to just change schools.
True, very true. That's the whole thing that's just nutty about this. And people talk about, oh, I can't believe that these guys just get up and leave. If you're coming in to recruit my kids, and I'm like, well, what about all the time and effort that they're putting into recruiting? And then after a season, they just get up and leave too. I said, it's just the nature of what college football is these days. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we had some good college games, some good NFL games. I actually got to officiate our final game on Thursday, Thanksgiving morning, which pretty cool atmosphere. My son got to work the chain gang once again, so I had to have him on the sidelines for that game this year, which was pretty neat. And I don't know if you saw, I got to do something good for my family. My brother-in-law recently passed away. It's about 5 or 6 weeks now, and his kids went to one of the schools that we were officiating at, and he had gone to this Thanksgiving game for like 20 plus years. He was going to this game. So this was one of the first ones that he wasn't able to go to. So I was able to get his challenge coin as a retired police officer, and my white hat allowed me to do the coin toss. So I got to do the coin toss and talk to the kids about being thankful and the special meaning behind the coin. So thought that was pretty cool, and I had my son there, so he was able to record it. So posted it and kind of hear what I'm saying on the YouTube videos, but crowd and
It was
everything else.
yeah, it was a pretty you couldn't hear everything, but it was really neat understanding what was going on. Obviously the captioning or whatever. So yeah, it was super cool, man. I think that's awesome. They allowed you to do that. We are very sorry for your loss. I know that losing any part of the family is very hard. It's neat you got to kind of honor him that way, though.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And my sister and my nephews were very, very appreciative of the gesture. So, and that's what it's for. So we kept Bill in our hearts for, and he got to look down at the game that he loved to go to one more time. So, which I'm sure he's going to be doing for the next, well, couple of 100 years, however long that game still goes on. So,
There you go.
he'll always be there. Well, tonight's episode is a little bit of a different one because of all the stuff we had going on over the weekend, all the wackiness and all the football going on over the weekend. Well, there was some not so good stuff that we're going to kind of dive in tonight. But before we begin with that, if you're enjoying the show, ladies and gentlemen, I got to do my spiel. Do me a favor, hit those like and follow buttons, especially if you're a new listener. Hit that like, hit that follow button so that you can hear when the new episodes pop up. You'll be able to help the podcast gods of the world, the algorithms, locate the podcast and hopefully push it out a little bit more, get a little bit more exposure so that we can continue to grow this sport, coaching wise, officiating wise, playing wise, just the sport we love. Just keep on growing it. If you get a chance to, you can go check out my YouTube page so you can go and check out some of the clips that we're about to go over tonight. If you have not seen them before, which many of them you've probably seen before, but you can always go to my YouTube page at Mike D, the referee, and take a look at them there. So, Daniel, I know you're all over the interweb yourself, so why don't you lay it down for the listeners too?
I do internet a little bit. I'm on the football coaching podcast with Joe Daniel is the primary place you can find me. Weekly show drops on Thursdays. Also, the Coaching 101 podcast with Kenny Simpson. Another show, we just moved to Thursdays. I think that's a pretty good off-season, give people something to get into the weekend with. So we start dropping our shows Thursday as well. Have a little YouTube that I'm slowly adding things to. And then Twitter's where I do most of my crap talking. So you can get on there and I'm talking OU football. Trying to get old Tate Bike Short Sandell, the Heisman or the Rosa or whatever we can get him to, right? Yeah, just having a blast on the Twitter's X, I guess. Jump in there and see my military side or the OU side or football coaching, whatever. It's all on there.
Football, baby.
That's right.
So, leading in now to our first clip that I want to share, and I got these on my Huddle account. So, over the weekend in the state of Texas, I got to preface this. This is no knock on the state of Texas because, unfortunately, the two clips that I have tonight are both from the state of Texas. But as anybody who pays attention to high school football knows, the state of Texas is its own world when it comes to football. I mean, everything's bigger in Texas. Well, so is high school football. I mean, it is life for many folk down in Texas. But this is an unfortunate incident that occurred this past weekend. The two schools you could see right there, Henrietta versus Gunter. Hope I'm pronouncing them correctly. And this is from the Texoma Broadcasting channel here. And again, I put this on my Huddle so I can kind of rewind it. But so we had a scenario. The score of the game at this point in time is 41-6. It's in the fourth quarter. Now, doing a lot of reading up on it, I ended up stumbling upon, give a little backstory to this game. I stumbled upon a Facebook page that was just about this game. And it was about the lead up to the game because it was a playoff game. And again, if you understand Texas football, like the lead up to it was life. The visiting team had I think they had 7 horses riding them out of their school just to kind of give them a send off going to the playoff game. So I mean, it's a big deal. So there was a lot of already talk going on this Facebook page beforehand, and then it was after the game with the incident that we're about to talk about. Not even so much referring to the official side of it, but just the incidents going on in the game. And the one comment that I continually saw was that there weren't enough flags throughout the game, that this game kind of got out of hand in the first, second quarter of the game. And what transpired was just something that kind of brewed throughout the entire game. And Daniel, I know you and I have talked about, and you actually asked the question: at what point do you have to start throwing those flags where the preventative and the verbal officiating aren't cutting the line anymore? And I guess this could be a scenario where, and again, haven't seen the box score, so I don't know how many penalties there were in this game.
Right.
But I'm getting my information, and this goes for the entire segment tonight. I'm getting my information off of the internet, so you can sometimes take that with a grain of salt. But these videos are pretty damning in what we're going to see about just one incident in the game. But from what I've heard, it's a boiling point of the entire game. So I got it here on Huddle, and I'm going to kind of let it play through. I can rewind it a little bit easier, but I also have some arrows and some circles on some particular individuals that I want to take note. So I got the press box view first that we're showing here. So the ball's on the 35-yard line. I think it's Gunter is on offense. I think they're the blue team, and Henrietta is the white team. So kind of let this play, and I'll have my first highlight right there. So this is an option play here. It looks like they already gave it, or the quarterback's keeping it. But I have highlighted here the cornerback that's on the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to let this play out. And Daniel, just want you to watch him. Boom. So right there, we got a little split veer action going on. So the quarterback does keep it, but this dude absolutely blows up the pitch man, absolutely annihilates him when it was pretty evident that there was no pitch coming. So right there, we could have had a foul. We could have had a flag right there, because that is now, in essence, a defenseless receiver. He's not a running back. I don't care where in the line of scrimmage it was. He lowers his shoulder. Eyes never get around to him. He is purely defenseless right there, and he gets lit up. So from what I gathered again from the internet, that was kind of the whole game. Not just on one side, but both sides just played very, very chippy and took liberties like that. So right there, we have just one incident that wasn't flagged. Now I got an arrow to the top of the screen where it looks like the corner and the wide receiver away from the play are kind of tussling. So let's focus our attention up top there. Oh, now they're rolling around on the ground, and now a helmet gets pulled off. Don't know if the helmet kind of got pulled off or if it kind of got like just caught up in the tussle itself that it came off. Again, I'm looking at this from a press box view 40 yards away on a screen that's a little bit blurry. But now I got my arrow pointing towards the head referee, the white hat. You can see his eyes are going over to where this tussle occurred. You also got the short wing is kind of following this. Our umpire got his eyes there too. So we got a lot of eyes going on in that situation. So Daniel, anything that you can see from this point?
I kind of want to watch back through it from a coach's point of view because, well, I
Want me to let it just play out and we'll go back to it?
Let's just play it and then we'll come back and I'll kind of give my viewpoint on it.
Okay. So we're going to let it play. So now we got the young man who had his helmet pulled off, kind of walks up and gets into the face of the guy he was tussling with. And you got now a flag that came out as the white hat was walking over. Let me back it up a little bit. Right about, you can see right there, the flag comes out. So we got one flag out right there. So individual's helmet was pulled off, is walking to the sideline. Now we got another player here. White hat's trying to control another player. The blue team's kind of off to the side. So now we basically have 4 players from Henrietta in one vicinity on the offensive side of the line of scrimmage behind the play, but closest to their sideline. So nobody's coming off the bench or anything like that. So now we got another player circled here that wasn't involved in that original tussle. looks like he's now talking to the white hat, who now throws his hat. Typically, we carry two flags. Well, I shouldn't say that. A lot of crews have people carry two flags. I don't throw one flag often, so I don't carry two myself. My crew doesn't carry two, but the secondary option here is to throw your hat. If you don't have another flag, you throw a hat or a beanbag. That's pretty standard. The hat is a little bit more visual than a beanbag, so we're going to typically go with the hat. So the head referee now throws his hat. So now we've got a second violation. And now the kid's got his arms up in the air like, who, me? But now he continues to go towards the ref. And now the referee takes off his shoe and throws that in the air, along with now the line judge who came walking in to try to de-escalate the situation. He hears the talking, so he throws his flag now. So the flag was about to be thrown, but the white hat threw a shoe.
This is the white hat?
That's the white hat. He took his shoe off and threw his shoe up in the air. Now, this is going to sound bad, but I always go back to Austin Powers. Who throws a shoe, man? Well,
hey, who throws a shoe?
Apparently this official does. So now he's got no flag, no hat, and one shoe. And the Gunter team has basically gone over to their sideline. So it's just Henrietta that's out on the field right now.
What in the world? What is going on?
Oh, so you could hear there. Yep, you could hear the announcers. I'm going to mute them right now. But now I want you to take a look. I got the white hat referee circled here again. And you're going to see another angle of it. The line judge, you could see him coming in like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And the white hat is still, instead of just walking away at this point in time to assess the penalties, well, he's still looking over at the Henrietta sideline and the players. And this is one thing that I go to the Major League Baseball world in this one, of that umpire that's got the radar ears that keeps on looking over at the dugout to try to hear something. And I'm a Yankee fan, so Aaron Boone got thrown out for a fan saying something in one game because the umpire heard it. But at this point, your point is made. You've gotten 3 flags plus other flags coming out from other officials. Why are we even looking over there? Because now you have an official on the top of the screen with the coach of the visiting team, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 other officials with the Henrietta team right now. Let them start to de-escalate it, because obviously the white hat's a little bit fired up, but it doesn't stop. Now he's pointing to the sideline, throws an individual out. Now our white hat is still looking, and I don't have him circled, Daniel, but take a look at this young man. I'm going to back it up a little bit.
It looked like he was kind of giving it back to him a little bit.
Yep, he was giving it to the white hat, and now he gives crying eyes. And I got my arrow pointed in that direction because, in my opinion, from this angle, he's looking right at that young man. Now, again, my angle's not great. I'm not going to lie. And a lot of this stuff is alleged, but I see the coach at the 35-yard line. This player is like at the 38-yard line. By the way this official's head looks like it's going, it looks like it's going more
he was already
to the player.
Communication with that kid, right? The kid was already jawing at him.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I think you're spot on. The coach has none of his attention right now. He has none of the coach's attention right now. I agree.
And then then he finally turns away, and now he's just talking with the line judge. And it's just bad optics in every fashion. It's just bad optics. And I'm just deleting all my little marks here. So I'm just going to let this one now just play through from the beginning. It didn't delete. Let me delete that. There we go. So I'm going to go back to the beginning, and we're just going to let this totally play out now. Come on, delete. There we go. Love technology.
Yeah, it gets huddle gets a little weird sometimes.
All right, so let's go back from the beginning here. So the Texoma broadcasting is live now. Veer option, lit up on the bottom, clean play. Up top, a little wrestling match going on, an extra push. Player with his helmet goes at the offensive player. Flag is thrown there. Player keeps on talking, saying stuff. Looks like he's talking to the ref. Now the ref throws his hat for another individual who now has his arms up in the air. Now his shoe gets thrown along with another official's flag. That individual looks like he's still jawing at the official, who now gives the full baseball eject button, the old heave ho.
Thing in football. Is that
No.
Don't you have to throw the flag and then give a personal foul and then ejection? Right? Like that's not even. Must be a multi-sport ref.
So I also want you to take note with that individual here. You have a coach coming to try to calm him down, and now he's pushing the coach off too, which I know, again, social media was all over that about that that player. Again, I don't want to make any assumptions here. I don't know what was actually going on, but well, that's what we had. And
so from the beginning, now I don't know what all the I think it's a pretty clean play at the bottom. Maybe he launches into it like modern day college ball. That's targeting.
Yes.
Is that targeting in high school? Well, we don't really have targeting, do we?
No, but that could be considered a defenseless receiver. So
it comes down to one of those like the punter's not a kicker until he kicks it, right? Like you just got to hit people that are in football position. I ain't mad at him. Was it a little aggressive? Sure, but it's freaking football. If you want to play a non-contact sport, go play, I don't know, baseball or something. I tell people, I tell my guys, if your job is the pitch man, take out the pitch man. Was it a little egregious? Maybe. At the top, why is there not a flag out? Why? There is a wrestling match going on. That's holding on either the offense. Oh, he does throw one. Yep. He does throw one right there. Okay. So,
and again, I don't know what that initial flag was on because, like you said, gosh, let's backtrack
that. Starts way inside. That's
the like, fullback.
And can we run that back? Well, yeah, and it looks like he almost gets hit. So it's like a tackle. Yeah, it's the defensive end tackles.
That's the fullback.
The dive, and then just runs him out. So yeah, that's on the defense, right? Like, what are you doing here, guy? Anyway, all in all, if this is how the whole game was, then for sure we needed more flags. From this point right here, the kids are kind of self-regulating. Right? There isn't any blue on white action here.
Mm-hmm.
Or black or whatever color these jerseys are. Gunter, whatever. I think it's Gunter, Texas. They're headed to look at all their heads are facing away from the action. The team in white is for the most part moving away from the action. It literally just comes down to number 7, who looks like he's probably jawing a little bit. And this ref. That's what you want to know right there. What was said? Because right now, 7 doesn't look hostile. He doesn't look upset. It looks like he came over like maybe ask a question. Maybe he said something bad. I don't know. We don't know yet.
See, in this scenario now to stick up for the officials, I don't think the White Hat's done anything incorrect at this point in time. Yeah. Number 7 shouldn't even be there, in my opinion.
He shouldn't talk to the ref.
Yes,
right? Talk to your coach.
He's walking over, he's looking around, and now he's hunting back out and finds the official and starts walking to him. So throwing the hat right there, I don't have any problem with that. Like that's them trying to get control over the game. Probably too late in this scenario, but in my opinion, that's him. That's the White Hat doing what he's supposed to do. But now here's where it just goes haywire. I don't know any mechanics manual where it says take your shoe off and throw it in the air.
I was going to ask how common that is. Is that one of the new ways that you do things? Because
no, nope. So this,
yep. So in my eyes, like I think the shoe is probably like I don't know. At that point, like, what are you doing with a third flag? That you aren't just going to go over and talk to the coach, right? And you have O to O on, I assume. So tell someone else to throw a flag. Like, I don't know. Like, you've just gotten out of hand. Anyway, I'm excited to see the other view.
So this view now I have, this one is from a gentleman, Ben Coker, who I found on X. So Ben was at the game, and Ben works for this TV station down in Texas. So he was there reporting the game, and I don't know what camera he was using, if it was possibly his phone that he was just videoing this, but you could see he's kind of right there in the action. We're going to unmute this point. So I don't know what you could hear other than the families, but where this video now picks up is now it's already after the wrestling match and the kid's helmet has been pulled off. So that's where the video starts, and the player walking towards the Gunter player kind of aggressively. Gives him a little push. Nothing big there. There's the flag.
So he talked to him right there, right?
Then it kind of skips. So he comes over, and
right
again,
the first kid.
He throws the flag there, but now he's given a point.
Like an ejection.
Yeah, but that's not I mean, again, Texas goes by their own set of rules. They're more NCAA aligned, but a 41-6 game, I could see him just saying, you're done, and that was just a demonstrative way of saying you're done. Because there's times where we're telling the coach, get him out of the game or else he's going to be ejected. Like, there's no
losing for more time, right?
Correct. So that we don't have to, so we don't have to do the paperwork if it's not necessary. But that wasn't a fight per se, that there were punches being thrown. But I don't know if this kid had another unsportsmanlike before that. So again, I don't know the whole back scenario to it. But the flag's already been thrown, and the head linesman already threw a flag on the original wrestling match. So we've already got that going on. So now it kind of jumps. You see number 7 is in there, right there, kind of between the head linesman and the head referee. And he's kind of like talking to him, and he's just standing there. And now we're trying to get him back. And now the white hat has already lost his hat. And now he's reaching and pulling off his shoe.
The other ref is like, that's a shoe.
And now 7's still going. And now we get the ejection.
He was already gone.
And right here is where it gets a little bit more dicey. And this is if the ladies and gentlemen from John Boy are happen to be watching this episode, and you get those lip readers. Supposedly what was stated at this point was, shut the F up, you little biatch. And by angle, like we talked about before, that looks like it's going towards number 7. Sure. Again, I'm making an assumption. But regardless, whoever he was saying it to, if those were even his words, you can kind of, I'll let it go full speed. You can kind of see at the end, because a body walks between them, it does look like he says little bitch at the end.
Yeah.
And now he gives the crying eyes.
And then his buddy has to try to come to the rescue.
And now, now the linesman walks in. He's like, what are you doing? Not good. Not good. What in the world are you doing? And he's still looking around to try to find stuff out. And there he's saying it more calmly, like, okay, he's ejected.
Yeah.
But I'm bringing this up, ladies and gentlemen, because we're short officials. Like, we know that it is a national problem that we have. We just had Ed on last week about officials being abused by coaches and by parents and by players with that episode. This isn't helping our cause. This is just completely unprofessional.
Right.
That this official let his emotions get so out of hand that he had to behave like that is just an uber bad optic for all officials through all sports. Coach, what are your thoughts?
Man, you're 100% right. It does. It's like you take one step forward, two steps back, right? Because we already struggle with trust and I hate it when coaches are out there giving the refs the business because like everybody has a job to do. Just do your job. And look, I call out coaches too for this stuff. Won't do it by name because of a history there, but I've been on the sidelines witnessing my head coach at the time ripping into a ref, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that does not represent me or anyone on this team. He was just one of those meathead kind of guys, and I happened to see some video the other day of his team getting eliminated from the playoffs, and the game is over. They lost by 15 or something, 20, I don't know, and he's still at the end of the game chewing the ref out like it's the ref's fault. Like, coaches do that crap too, and it bugs me. But then you see stuff like this where it's like we're trying to cross that chasm, and what are you doing, man? Like, there's so many places you see people that lose themselves because of the pressure, right? They lose control.
Mm-hmm.
Crash out is the new way that people say that.
Yep.
Whatever. And usually what I'm thinking is like, the moment's too big for you. You shouldn't be there. But also I know we have a shortage, so it's like we need that guy. But we don't need that.
No.
For the kids, the fans, the coaches, the reffing officials, like no, none of it.
Now, the thing I think that truly bothers me to my core is, as an educator, as somebody who's dealing with high school aged kids on a day in and day out basis, let alone I've got 2 teenagers in my house right now. We need to be above that, no matter what. Yeah, I know when I don the stripes on a Friday night, on a Saturday afternoon, whenever that game might be, I'm in for a little bit of abuse, and I've dished it out myself. So again, I'm not going to be a hypocrite, but we're in the eye of everybody. So one side of the field is not going to like what we're doing regardless. And that's something I've kind of resigned the fact to, that you're not making everybody happy. I'm hopefully going out there to officiate a good football game and make it a fair football game. But no matter what words are said to me, yeah, I might throw a flag, but in no way, shape, or form am I turning to a bench in front of high school players, in front of families, and screaming and cursing at them as an adult. Like, that's something that we flag the kids to do. Like, when they're doing it to the opposing team's bench, we're hitting them with an unsportsmanlike conduct, and we're getting between that. To do that ourselves as an official, everything that we've been taught to our core as an official, as an educator, you're not going to see me going up to a kid and telling them to shut the F up, you little bitch. Like, I'd lose my job. I'd lose my teaching certificate. I would be out the door so fast. Like, it's just mind boggling. And from what I've heard, and again, I'm only making assumptions here, these officials now at this level of the playoffs in Texas are assigned through the coaches. And I gotta, let me rephrase that. They're evaluated through the coaches, and that's where they get their assignments from, because the coaches are giving their feedback. Where here in New Jersey, we have outside assigners that are watching our games and giving us a grade per se. Where in Texas, from what my understanding is the coaches are the ones that are giving their weekly grades on the officials. And apparently, or obviously, this official got a very good grade in order to get into a 3rd round playoff game. So it's just, it's bad. And the TASO came out, and this is 2 days ago. They released this statement regarding the incident. I'm pulling up their website here. So the Texas Association of Sports Officials regarding the conduct of a football member. This is November 29th, 2025. The leadership of the football division of the Texas Association, the TASO, was notified of the conduct by a member or members that failed to meet our standards during a game on the 28th in a 3A Division II semifinal football game. As a result, TASO has taken the following actions. A full investigation has been initiated by the TASO state office. The TASO football crew that was assigned to the game have been immediately suspended pending the results of the investigation. And the Texas University Interscholastic League, which is the sub-league that this group is playing in, and both schools will be updated during the investigation and will receive a report of the final determination. Now, today's December 1st, so this is 2 days ago. This came out the day after this incident occurred. And by the time we publish this episode, there might be a newer letter going out. But as of right now, all I know is that there's an investigation going on. I don't know any of the results. And if you're out there and you're listening, leave a comment if you've got anything for us here on which way the investigation goes. But it's rough, man. It's bad. It's just bad optics for all officials that, and this is unfortunately a thing of life. It only takes one negative for people to remember. Out of all the positives you can do, one negative always seems to stand out for people. And that's what the rest of Texas football is going to have to deal with for the remainder of the playoffs. And that's bad for them.
Yeah, you hate to see it. You hate to see the credibility of all officials take a strike there, and as well as coaches, as well as some kids. Like, and that team. I mean, next year they're maybe he was on the losing team. I think the one that got all the strikes. So it looks like they're probably done. But next year they'll have to do with that. Maybe he's not a senior now. He's got to go forward with this crap because a whole bunch when it should have just been a flag for the tussle. If he got mouthy, bang him with another one, give him his personal foul, and then if he needs to be ejected because it's the second one, eject him. Like, move on with life,
Yep.
right? And instead, now it's trying to throw 3 flags on the same kid. You took off your shoe, you look goofy, just doing too much, right? But it'll smooth out eventually. You can't have too many of those for sure, right? I mean, we got to make sure we don't have a repeat of this. For certain.
Well, unfortunately, we do. Well, let me rephrase that. This seems to be a repeat of something else that occurred. This is now going back, and please, Texas, don't hate me. I've never been to your state. I want to go to your state. But this is another incident that occurred in the state of Texas. And to my knowledge, this was 2023. Exact date unknown at this point in time, but it's 4th down. And this one, again, I got off the internet. So you'll see somebody circles the umpire there in the middle of the field. And as standard, as an umpire, we got linebackers backpedaling into us. So he puts his arms out to brace himself. And now the kid opens up his hips and kind of collides with the umpire, who then grabs hold of the young man's face mask and rips the helmet off of the kid. Now, I want to backtrack. I want to let this go play full speed because there's a couple things with it. The umpire is stationary, which I try not to be because of scenarios like this, but the umpire is stationary in this scenario. So the linebacker already backed into him once and he braced himself. But now because the flow goes the opposite way, the linebacker is keeping his eyes on the ball. He opens up his hips to turn and run, and he happens to run into the umpire again. And he doesn't make it doesn't look like he makes hard contact with the umpire, but it's enough that it kind of knocks the umpire off balance. And now my wondering here goes to defend the guy in stripes is, did he grab the kid's face mask out of complete accident, just trying to regain his balance, putting his hands out, and that's just what he happened to grab, which still isn't a truly acceptable answer, because if that was a football player, that's a 15-yard face mask penalty still. So regardless of that, did he do that? But then the fact that he continues to hold on to it, that he pulls the helmet off of the kid's head, and then he throws a flag on the kid.
Ejected him. Kicked him out of the game.
So I'm going to let this one play through. So backs into him, opens the hips, kind of runs into him, and the helmet gets pulled off, and the kid's like, wait a minute, what the heck? And got another angle of it from the opposite side. Right?
This is the damning one right here.
Yeah.
Like, now he's going after him.
And then he pulls the flag out.
You went to attack mode there. You know what I mean? Like, that's aggressive.
Yeah. He's walking right at him, and now he throws, like, what is the flag for? Like, what was called? I'm assuming it's going to be an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, but
the problem is the ref not part of the field?
Yeah. And so he runs into him.
If I'm running over there and he's in the way, I have every right to run through him to make a play.
I mean, that right there. Okay, the collision happened. Again, I'm gonna err.
He already got his hands up in his face.
Yeah,
like he already's in attack mode.
And then he continues and pulls it off, and then walks right to him. And to what you're saying, one thing that I'm trained as an official is when I'm getting ready to throw a flag, or if I do throw a flag, play's not over because I threw a flag. I have to continue officiating the play because that's where other things do occur. Well, this incident happens, and like you said, play's not over. He's got his back to the play, and like you said, he's in attack mode. He's walking back at the kid. Referee on the bottom here is getting the spot, and he's walking back at him. And I knew the flag. I didn't realize the ejection. So you're saying that player got ejected for that?
Yes. Yep.
Now, this was 2 years ago. This is in the past, but unfortunately, because of scenarios like we had this past weekend, this stuff resurfaces again. We're doing all this stuff, and I've spent almost 2 years now on a weekly basis going on to this podcast and talking about and trying to grow our sport as officials. And here are two damning black eyes on what we do and what we're trying to do. For what? Because a high school kid ran into you? Well, you're an umpire. That comes with the territory. Understand it, unless it's the scenario that we talked about last week where they were completely targeting. This kid's not targeting him by any means, by any fashion. There's no way that this kid was doing anything like that. This was a kid playing football with the official happening to get in their way. That's all it is. And it happens. But again, we're supposed to be the adults in the room. We're supposed to be the ones that are grown up now. And I don't know who this kid is. If this kid maybe was a sophomore, what if this kid's 14, 15 years old? Let alone, even if he is a senior, 18 years old. That official certainly is not 18 years old. That's a grown-ass man right there.
It's kind of, this is unfortunately we have to start getting like, what is assault? What is action taken outside the sport?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And going back again to last week's episode, and for those that didn't get a chance to watch last week's episode, we had a couple incidents where officials were taken out purposely by players. And the one that got all the big claim to fame, unfortunately, was in the state of Texas. That player got arrested. And so you're talking assault. That player got arrested for assault. Daniel, you were able to find that this player was ejected. Was there any fallout afterwards that you were able to grab on?
It looks like he was reinstated by the TASO and the UIL. They reversed the decision for him to be suspended from the next game or whatever their rules are. So he was reinstated. The ref did not ref anymore, waiting on an investigation. I cannot figure out what the investigation actually show. But they did reverse the ejection.
And
and then they never really posted anything after that. No reports there, charges or anything was filed. There's no public record of it. They don't even have the official's identity being published publicly. So,
and same thing for the incident that just occurred. I have not seen the official's name whatsoever, which I'm kind of happy because, I mean, that guy could be a father. So he could have had a really, really bad moment in his life, and he's probably going to pay for his professional career with it. But let's not ruin his whole family life over a stupid bonehead mistake that they made. It's not worth it in that aspect. But I don't know that we're going to hear anything of what happened from this past weekend.
Yeah.
Unless we're down there and I'm working with the crews, I probably don't know that I'll ever see these officials again, or that particular official. I do got to say, it looked like the crew from the scenario that we had on that particular play were doing the right things, but going by what Facebook, and Facebook's always telling the truth. It's never a tainted side one way or the other there. But they said the game was very chippy, so maybe they are going to get reprimanded for not taking action earlier in the game. I don't know. And again, I'm speculating here, but
yeah,
this is the stuff, unfortunately, that goes viral. And this is what really, really puts a black eye on what we're trying to do for the game of football. And it's sad. It's saddening.
Yep. I think it goes to show. Well, first of all, I want to say I appreciate what you said. Is like this is probably a dad. Now, you see things like this in the public limelight. Well, no one would ever do this. It makes you also want to think like, I want to make sure his kids are okay.
Yeah.
What's his home life like? But also, we don't know. Maybe he's going through a divorce, or maybe caught his wife being, unfaithful, or like. There's a ton of stuff that can go wrong in a person's life to cause them to do something out of the norm.
Yes.
Maybe that has nothing to do with this kid or this team or this profession whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much. And there's a lot of pressure out there to be perfect. We talked about that last week a little bit.
Yep.
The pressure, we talked about the kids that are aggressive towards refs a couple weeks ago, and that kind of happened. So, unfortunately, you start seeing these happen on both sides, and now we kind of have an arms race, or everybody's so defensive against everyone else, and we hope that doesn't happen. We want to de-escalate all that and move forward the best way we can. So, oh man, the one this past week, at least he didn't make physical contact.
Yes,
he lost his mind. He looked a little goofy. Served some suspension for throwing the crybaby eyes, and write the kid a formal apology publicly. Let's move on, right? No reason for anyone to lose a career if his record's clean. If that's his second or third strike, maybe you have to look at different stuff. I don't know.
I got to say, I don't know that I could give a second chance on a scenario like that when we put the stripes on, of the cursing and the crybaby aspect. The ejections, the hat, even the shoe, I could... I could like, all right, listen, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're done for the season. Like, let's go home and let's chalk this one up to a bad choice. But now when you're verbally attacking teenagers, not physically attacking, but still verbally attacking teenagers, I don't care what that kid was saying to you. I mean, sticks and stones and all that stuff. Words aren't going to hurt you. Listen, kids say stupid stuff. Kids do stupid stuff. But nobody got violent with anybody. So for somebody in a professional career who's in charge of the safety of young men and women, that's not excusable to act like that. And yes, I agree. when I say his professional career should be over, I think his professional officiating career should be over. I don't think it should go on because this is a part-time job for 99% of us.
Right.
I don't think this should carry over into their professional life, into their family life and their home life. But I think on the field, being in charge of young men and women, I think that needs to take a long pause, not just a week suspension or a season. I think that needs to, let's let this go.
This is one of those that, like, militarily, we always end up with like a safety brief, or we end up with some stupid. Every year we have to take a class that says "Don't be a douche." You know what I mean? You can't abuse people. You can't. We always end up with these crazy classes we have to take every year because the government's answer to this is retraining.
Yep.
And then it just becomes an annual thing. And that's kind of where we're at. I don't want to get too far off, but we're getting rid of a lot of those because we've realized like offenders are just going to offend. It doesn't matter if you made them watch a PowerPoint presentation for 3 hours; they're going to be offenders. So talking about it all the time doesn't necessarily help. So maybe in this case, maybe he doesn't need a little retraining. Maybe I don't know. I'm not one to think like sensitivity training and all that. Actually, he knows what he did was wrong. So it's just, can he commit to it? And what, how do you go from there? That maybe it gets reduced because he was a white hat. That's pretty difficult to do, right? As a ref.
Yeah.
To work your way up the ranks. So, maybe he's reduced back to a line judge or an umpire or something, where he has less, I guess, interaction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, where he's just not the one making the big decision. Someone can overrule him and make sure that what he's doing is fair and etc.
But now, you being a father, you being a coach, you being around young humans, young adults, would you feel comfortable if, from a complete outside perspective, if you learned that your child was now playing in a game being officiated by either one of these two gentlemen, the white hat from the first scenario, or more so the umpire from the second scenario? And that's, you don't even have to give me an answer right now, but that's something that's now going to go through a lot of people's minds, especially the one here where he ripped the kid's helmet off. I mean, how can you trust this person not to have another break moment and have that physically attack another child? Again, we don't know how old that kid is. It could be a 15-year-old.
Odds are he's not 18.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and that's the question that we'll all have to deal with. And again, we're always getting yelled at by moms that we're not keeping their kids safe. Well, dang, I can't imagine what this kid's mom was saying at this point in time.
Yeah.
So, all right. Not the best episode, but one I think we needed to have, especially with where we're going.
You got to cast the light wherever, right? Kids are wrong sometimes. Coaches are wrong. Refs are wrong. We all screw up.
Yep. And ultimately, the bottom line, like we've said from day one, is we are all human. We will make mistakes, but please, 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 when you put those stripes on, use it as a Zen moment. Use it as a time to get away because, yeah, you're right. We don't know what happened outside this game. We don't know what these people were going through in their outside life. But I try to, that's why I embrace the Friday Night Lights. I love hearing the band. I love seeing the kids running around and knowing how much time and effort those kids have put into it. I have an appreciation for that. So I've worked games where I've left funerals and gone to a game, or left awake and gone and work a game. So yeah, my day was pretty crappy up until that point, but now I'm there for a different purpose, and it's kind of my escape as a human. Let me escape for the next 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and be in this moment with the game and not let my outside life interfere with this game, no matter how bad it's going. And then after the game's over, I'm going back to life again. I'm going back to deal with whatever it is I'm dealing with. So again, that's kind of a personal thing that I like to do. I can't say that for everybody. Players, coaches, other officials, again, we're all different. We all carry things a little bit different in life, but we got to be above it. We got to be above it as coaches and as officials to understand that these kids are going to make mistakes, and we need to lead by example.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, brother man. Well, at this point in time, I think we are good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you hear any other things, or if you get any more information by the time this episode comes out, again, this is Monday night that we're talking right now, so it's fresh. If you hear any other information, please comment. Let's put it out there, and let's have like not positive comments, but let's be sure of what we're going to comment. If I could say that, like, let's not just speculate like I'm doing right now, because I've speculated enough. I'd like to get some hard proof one way or the other of what these individuals did and what the outcomes are going to be. So I've done the speculating, which I really don't like doing without having the facts to back it up. But hopefully we'll bring to light what this was, what happened here, and how we can, well, hopefully watch a PowerPoint on it next year to not do it again.
Retrain.
Yep.
Retrain. Oh, man.
All right, brother. Well, once again, I appreciate you taking the time out of the busy schedule, Mr. King of the podcast. I actually got another show I got to jump on in a half an hour now. So you can go
Awesome,
listen
brother.
to me there.
I appreciate it once again for having me on. You guys keep fighting the good fight, whether you're a ref, a coach, whatever it is. If you're here, you're probably somebody that's trying to learn this one, maybe just learn some of the drama. I don't know, but at least you're out trying.
Yes.
So, hey, Mike, thanks again for having me on, brother.
Absolutely. Always good.